Welcome to this video of another set of 10 CWI Part A questions. These are random questions with explanations provided that will guide you in your preparation for the CWI exam. So let's not waste any of your time and go into the video.
After a rejected weld has been repaired, re-inspected, and found to be acceptable, the welding inspector should, letter A, change the original inspection report to indicate the part's acceptance. Letter B, mark directly on the part. Letter C, fill out a second inspection report. Letter D, tell the foreman to have the part moved to its next operation. Letter E, no further action is required. So this question pertains to what will the welding inspector do if a rejected weld has already been repaired and found to be acceptable. So letter A, change the original inspection report to indicate the part's acceptance. So maybe this can be done, but this is not the ideal action for this scenario. Letter B, mark directly on the part. So this may be done if the part to be repaired has not been re-inspected yet. So if it will be if it's yet to be repaired, the rejected weld has not yet been identified. Letter D, tell the foreman to have the part moved to its next operation. So to have the part moved to its next operation is not an ideal action in this scenario. Definitely letter E. So you, as a welding inspector, you have to uh, at least document the acceptance of the re-inspected weld. So letter C is the best answer for this question since you the welding inspector feels or fulfills his obligation to document its findings by filling out a second inspection report documenting the results of the reinspection for the repaired welds. So this is the safe approach here to refill or to fill out a second inspection report to document how the repair weld has been inspected. Also, some standards like API 1104 requires inspection of repair welds by non-destructive testing or even visual inspections, and the records must be kept. So the answer here is letter C. A wire IQI is used in which NDE method? Letter A, UT, letter B, ET, letter C, RT, letter D, MT, letter E, PT. So IQI stands for Image Quality Indicator or penetrometers in the industry. It's also called pennies. So this is the device used to show the quality of the radiographs. So the material for the IQI needs to conform to a standard such as ASTM. And the specification for the whole IQI depends upon the weld thickness. So based from that, uh, it is a device to show the quality of the radiographs, meaning the answer here is letter C, radiographic testing. So if you're not familiar with the abbreviation or the acronym, so UT is ultrasonic testing, ET is eddy current testing, MT is magnetic particle testing, and PT is dye penetrant testing. The performance of which of the following test methods is least affected by high part temperature? So this question pertains to what testing method is least affected by high part temperature. So basically, after the weld, you can expect that the base metals and uh, welded the welded metal is subjected to a high temperature. So what testing method is least affected by it? So letter A, ET, letter B, RT, letter C, PT, letter D, UT, letter E, VT. So ET stands for eddy current testing and does not need for the probe to touch the metallic specimen. So ET is done by a coil carrying AC and works by electromagnetic induction. So because of this, hot parts are facilitated and allowed. But the limitation of this testing is that highly skilled operators are required to operate and interpret the results. So by that, ET is not affected by the high part temperatures of the weld and the base metal. So for the other choices here, RT uh, is the high part temperatures can affect the result, especially PT and UT because of the need of the contact of the couplant to the base metal or the welded part of the metal. You need to basically have the uh, base metal cool off a bit for for safety purposes as well, and of course for visual inspection. So you need to have the metals cool off a bit. So the answer here is letter A. So since the eddy current testing doesn't need contact to the base metal or the metallic specimen, so this is the test method that is least affected by those high temperatures of the base metals. Crater cracks are most often the result of letter A, improper technique, letter B, improper filler metal, letter C, improper base metal, letter D, trapped slag, letter E, trapped hydrogen. So this discontinuity is often the result of improper technique because of improper termination leading to insufficient weld metal volume and rapid cooling, causing the shrinkage in the crater area. So the crater cracks are mostly a result of the improper termination of or the welding electrode in contact to the base metal, causing rapid cooling of that point or that area, causing shrinkage. So the answer here is letter A. So the improper technique of the welder most often results with crater cracks. So for the choices here, so what that's why they're not the correct answers is that filler metals in base metal does not cause rapid cooling. It depends upon the heat input. Trap slag uh, mainly causes slag inclusion, and trapped hydrogen can cause embrittlement and can eventually lead to cracking as well, but not crater cracks since it does not lead to shrinkage stresses, unlike the improper technique or improper termination that I've just mentioned earlier. So the answer here is letter A. The tail of a welding symbol should not be used for letter A, denoting welding process requirements, letter B, denoting welding procedure requirements, letter C, denoting welding electrode requirements. Letter D, denote welding specification requirements. Letter E, denoting groove angle. So this question pertains to what the tail of a welding symbol is not used for. So it can be, the question can be best demonstrated with this illustration. So this illustration, as you can see here, the groove angle is specified at the top of the weld symbol. This is the weld symbol at the center. So this is the groove angle. So as you can see here, the tail is used for specifying processes or other references. So it can basically specify drawing references, what welding process is it, or among others. Especially indicated here welding process requirements, you can indicate that in detail, even welding procedure requirements, or electrode requirements even, and welding specification requirements. This can be indicated in the tail. But the groove angle has a specified location in the welding symbol. So the answer here is letter E. So denoting groove angle is not a function of the tail of a welding symbol. By the way, I just want to take a break from the video and remind you of the free Udemy course that I've put in the description down below. So it composes of CWI Part A lectures, the introduction for welding inspectors. So you can check out the description below for that free Udemy course. Now back to the video. Which of the following may not be detected with VT or visual testing? Letter A, large surface cracks. Letter B, undercut. Letter C, overlap. Letter D, underfill. Letter E, lamellar tear. So for the choices here, large surface cracks, undercut, overlap, underfill can be detected by visual testing because this can commonly occur in the surface or in the surface of the weld. So large surface crack obviously can be seen visually. Undercut can be seen visually. Overlap and underfills in the joint root can also be seen visually. But lamellar tear, you cannot see it. May not be seen uh, through the naked eye or through visual testing. It is a terrace-like fracture resulting from welding shrinkage, and the three main causes of this are stresses in the through thickness direction, which is parallel to the rolled surface, susceptible joint configuration, mainly for thicker metals. Uh, One of the reasons it may not be detected with VT because of the thicker metals, it may occur underneath the surface, and materials with high inclusion content. So eliminating one of those three causes can reduce the susceptibility of the metals undergoing lamellar tear. So the answer here is letter E. Which of the following elements are commonly used as alloying elements with tungsten to produce GTAW electrodes? Letter A, cesium. Letter B, thorium. Letter C, columbium. Letter D, vanadium. Letter E, chromium. So thorium aids in improving the electrical characteristics by making the tungsten electrode more emissive. So basically, it makes it more easier to initiate an arc for the TIG welding. So it is most commonly used for joining ferrous metals, hence why it is a common alloying element with tungsten. So if I'm not mistaken, so thorium is added, I think, 1 to 2% with tungsten to have this effect. So the answer here is letter B, thorium. So this is the most common alloying element in producing TIG electrodes. For single bevel groove weld symbols, the line of the weld symbol running perpendicular to the reference line is always drawn on which side of the weld symbol? Letter A on the right, letter B on the left, letter C on either side depending on company policy, letter D on the side in which the straight side actually appears in the joint, letter E doesn't matter. So this question can be best demonstrated by this illustration. So this is a groove, a single bevel groove weld symbol right here. So the line perpendicular to the reference line is this part right here. So the straight line coming through the reference line perpendicular to it. So it is always left of the welding symbol. So it is always left of this one, right? So it's always on the left part of the weld symbol. So the answer here is letter B. So it's always on the left side of the weld symbol. So the portion of the groove face within the joint root is called letter A, weld interface, letter B, faying surface, letter C, groove weld edge, letter D, root face, letter E, groove angle. So the joint root here is the shaded part of this figure right here. So this is where the root face, so this is the root face right here, and the groove face. So this entire shaded portion is the joint root right there. So basically, uh, the part where the groove face is within the portion of the groove face within the joint root is the root face, letter D. So as you can see here, this is the entire groove face, and this part here is the root face and the groove face. Basically, they are on the same joint root. The groove face is the face wherein the groove angle is located. So basically, this is the part of the groove face. This part right here. So the entire part of this one is the root face and the groove face. This is the part of the root face, basically. So the answer there is letter D, root face. Piezoelectricity is a material property used by which NDE method? Letter A, UT, letter B, ET, letter C, RT, letter D, MT, letter E, PT. So piezoelectricity is used in UT, wherein the transducer is attached to an electric base unit. The machine then produces pulses through a coaxial cable that is in contact with the test object through the use of a couplant, right? So for letter B, the choice here, eddy current does not make use of contact with the metal, unlike UT with couplant. Hence, it doesn't make use of the concept of piezoelectricity. So RT uses radiographic waves. MT uses magnetic field with ferromagnetic material. So you cannot use MT for stainless steels without the presence of iron. Those ferrous stainless steel, you can use it against that. PT uses the concept of capillary action, which makes use of the developer liquid rising through the crevices of the discontinuity or defect. So the answer here is letter A, UT.